welcome back to the channel and enjoy today's video. Dominic Szoboszlai's penalty deep into stoppage time denied Newcastle United and Matthias Eisler a deserved opening day victory at St James's Park yesterday against the Reds. The Magpies had twice taken the lead, first through Anthony Elanga and then Joe Willock, with Liverpool's initial equaliser coming from range from Cody Gakpo. But despite the late concession, which made it feel like a defeat, there was lots to be encouraged by. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel here. It's a gorgeous Monday afternoon here in Blythe. My hangover's almost gone, but to get rid of it fully, well, there's the Commissioner's Inn behind us. So I'm going to walk and talk, go down here towards Bath Terrace, through Ridley Park, along the quayside, and then finish there with a pint to edit this video. But before I begin, if you do like this video today and you'd like to see more content, please like, comment, share and subscribe to support the channel, and hit the bell wherever it is here on the bottom of the screen for all your latest Magnificent Mags content. So yes, I know Liverpool got a last minute equaliser yesterday when I left the stadium. As I said with Adam on Away and Safe, thank you if you did watch and for supporting his channel, and you can help him out by following him on all socials too. But yeah, I did mean that yesterday. It did feel like a blow when they'd got that last minute equaliser, and I know I've seen people today saying, oh well, it's like Newcastle United of last season, we've give up another lead, and now since the start of last season that's 29 points drop from winning positions. But it isn't. It's so much different from last season, because I feel that if it had been last season, we would have sat in trying to protect that, but we weren't. We were organised, we were compact, especially that first half, and then we broke at pace. We had runners, we had outlets. That's what was different. We were trying to go for the win, and no more so than with 4 minutes to go when Johan Wissa was put through on goal, but unfortunately Alisson made that save to keep Liverpool in the game. But yeah, it wasn't like last season whatsoever, and I know Szoboszlai got that penalty in the last minute, and I said yesterday it looked like a pen from where I am in the corner, but looking at it back, it does look soft. Now look, I know Lewis Hall didn't go in with his foot, it was actually his leg, and I know that you're inviting contact when you do put your leg in there. And Munoz, who we'd been linked with, and then he did go to Liverpool in the end, he didn't need a second invitation, he connected and Liverpool got the pen. Soft, yes. Stonewall, no. Penalty, maybe. But look, I'm still encouraged, because how many people have written us off from outside? And I know there's been also comments on social media on the Newcastle United hashtag from our own fan base worried about this season, because we've lost lots of big names. I don't need to go through them, and one of the big names who left last summer came back yesterday to, let's just say, a very frosty reception. That's an understatement, but I'm not obviously going to say the words that he was called on this channel. I can post the video, but let's just say it wasn't wasn't pre-watershed friendly, if you like. A lot of people have written Newcastle United off, and we've lost those big players who you normally would expect to step up, and we're like, who's going to step up now? But my God, so many players stepped up yesterday. I mean, Lucas Hornacek, I know he was beaten from distance by Gakpo, but I can't even blame him for that. He didn't have too many saves to make, bar that save from Wirtz in the first half, which I'll come to. But Amar Dedic, he was making his Premier League debut, and he was solid up against a very good player in Cody Gakpo. I think him and Dominic Szoboszlai are Liverpool's two best players. But Dedic more than held his own, and he was the one who got it underway for the first goal when Gravenberch was messing about, and he cleared it. I felt Sven Botman, look, he's had a shaky pre-season. He's cost us a lot of goals. But yesterday, after Dan Burns' injury, which I'll come to later in this video, he stepped up. Him and Malik Chow, excellent yesterday. They were fantastic. And Botman didn't give an inch. He was solid. And it wasn't even his fault either, or Malik Chow's, for Liverpool's first equaliser from Cody Gakpo, because that should have been the midfield's job to close him down. But he had a good game. Lewis Hall, despite the late concession of a penalty, he was excellent too. Lewis Hall was just fantastic, and obviously Eisler's already said that despite the Manchester United interest, Lewis Hall will be staying. And then you go into midfield, we had Lewis Miley, who's what, 20-year-old? And then you've got Sean Sturr, who's just come in on his Premier League debut, 18-year-old. I'm 38. 8th of September, I'm going to be 39. So those two combined are my age, and their performances yesterday, Miley was just outstanding, and Sturr just kept it so simple, and he played beyond his years. And look, Harvey Barnes mightn't have lit the game up, but he done his fair share of defensive work as well. And then you go onto the right wing, Anthony Elanga, he was much more encouraging. He looks like he's come back with the fire in his belly, the bit between his teeth. He took his goal really well, because when he went through, everyone thought back to last season at Villa Park when he missed that and it kind of destroyed his confidence. And then Wissa, he was workmanlike up front. Yes, he didn't score, but he was given their centre-backs a torrid time. I forgot the name of their other centre-back alongside Van Dijk. But yeah, Wissa was a handful for them. And then you go into the number 10. And I'll come to my man of the match ratings at the end. Wissa, he was just excellent. And like I said there with Elanga, a player coming back with a bit between his teeth, with a point to prove. And that's exactly what Wissa done yesterday. He looks fit, he looks dynamic, he looks energetic, he looks sharp. And the way he was turning his men, especially, I've got to say though, for that second goal, that turn he done in the centre of the park, like when he picked it up from deep and then just ran through and laid it off for Joe Willock, that was just outstanding. But yeah, lots of good performances, and Joe Willock as well. Joe Willock's been linked with a move to Besiktas, but Yisla said that he might want to keep him now. Joe Willock came off the bench. He rolled back the years as well. He's progressive. He carries you up the pitch. He was energetic, and if he can stay injury-free, if Yisla does indeed turn down this supposed bid of £17 million, will he go to Istanbul? Well, if he can put in more performances like yesterday, especially when we're missing midfield depth, then why wouldn't you call for Joe Willock to stay? That was really good. And Yisla as well, he deserves credit for, one, the way he set what up, how attacking we were. Like, we took the game to Liverpool, and I don't know what Liverpool were doing, by the way, but they were absolutely miles open. They had no balance, but we kept running through them time and time again. It was just unbelievable, the amount of space they were gifting with. But Yisla as well, he was decisive in his substitutions as well. He saw that Liverpool had got a foothold at the start of the second half. We were a bit open. He needed to change it. He needed to change the dynamic of the game, shift the weight, the way it was going back into our favour. And he was decisive with his substitutions, bringing Joe Willock on, and it had an immediate impact. So yeah, there's lots to be encouraged by. But yeah, got to say as well though, the Kevin Keegan tribute. I've touched on this before, but it was my first manager in my first game all the way back in '92. That's when I thought Newcastle United are always at the top challenging. That's how good he was. He made you dream. He understood where, and that tribute for him yesterday, it was fantastic to be a part of it. It was fantastic. And just seeing all the former players there, you had Darren Peacock, Sir Les, Big Al, John Beresford. They'd all been at Lady Grey's the night before in town. So yeah, it was just unbelievable, the turnout for him. And that tifo display in the East Stand was outstanding. And his quote where he said, fans should be able to dream about their football club. And he's right. When people say, oh no, they haven't got an answer, why not? He's like, well, he says, why not? Why shouldn't fans be allowed to dream? That's what football's about. That's what sport's about. And that display yesterday, I just felt was a fitting send-off for a legend of both clubs as well. I've got to say that the Cop-Bites done their part with the Keegan 7 in his name in the Leazer's end. That was just a fantastic display. Of course, it changed straight away as soon as that was done. Line was drawn, the niceties ended, and we went straight on to giving Isaac stick. And he was terrible though. And you're thinking, will it ever click? But it's just one of those where in sport, sometimes a player can do so well at one club, but not another. But our system was built around Isaac. That's what made him tick. But since he's went to Anfield, he was awful yesterday. He was anonymous. And obviously every time he touched the ball, we were giving him stick because he deserved it the way his actions went. But he just looks a shadow of himself. Like, he just done nothing. And you think, I know Szoboszlai's their designated penalty taker, but you'd think when they got that penalty at the end, he would step up just to maybe prove a point and shut us up. But he didn't even bottle that. So he just looks spineless. And like, I can't believe that Liverpool still paid us £125 million for him. But yeah, hey ho, I'm not complaining. He was terrible, and that what a challenge. What, by the way, when Lewis Hall put it in and Matthias Isla basically like punched the air. I love him on the touchline, even slamming his coat down when they got the penalty. I love that. I love his emotion. Isla, I love that he's wearing his heart on his sleeve, and that's what Newcastle United were yesterday. That's why I'm so happy today. Yes, we conceded a late penalty, which is debatable. Tell me what you think in the comments, but yeah, we were just dynamic, we're exciting, and like Isla said, we were vertical. As soon as we got the ball, especially Wissa, we were just going straight for the jugular. Everything we did yesterday had a purpose, and that's what I loved, and that's what got the crowd on side. Like I said though, why they give Isaac the kick-off when we didn't need encouragement is beyond me. We'll probably surprise a few teams this season. Will the crowd be the same when the likes of Bournemouth come in a week and a half's time for a 12:30 kick-off? For me, that's always the worst kick-off. But we'll wait and see. Can we do it for Hull City? Who knows? But even Wednesday, I'll be there for West Brom. We'll have to wait and see. Newcastle were dynamic, they were vertical, they were exciting, they were just front-footed, they were aggressive. I loved it. I loved it. And to go through the game, yeah, well, we took the lead. That's basically the first thing that happened in the game after like 4 minutes. Gravenberg received it, and I thought he might have shot. It looked like it was opening up a little bit, despite Newcastle being really compact in the first half. But yeah, he decided to try and pass it, and then it basically ran away from him. Dedic slid in, his clearance went to Willa, and this is what I mean about Willa. He was a handful. He didn't need that invite, as I've talked about, that gap, that massive gap. It was like, was it Canute parting the seas, whoever it was? I might be wrong there, but yeah, he just ran straight through that gap, and Anthony Elanga absolutely flew past Milos Kerkez on his right-hand side, left him for dead, and then you're just thinking, remembering that, getting that sort of muscle memory coming back of, oh God, remember Villa Park that shot his confidence? But Elanga had a good World Cup. Look, was he world class yesterday? No, but he done a lot of stuff so much better. He finished his chance, his confidence was soaring, he was making the runs, he was always an outlet, he was taking his man on, and he was doing his fair share of tracking back too, but he was always available for the ball, and always available for the ball. Sorry, I went there. I don't know what that was, but he was always available for the ball. I'll try and enunciate that better next time. That's what we want to see as Newcastle fans. We want to see our players breaking at speed, turning defenders inside out, and basically having them falling over and twisting their ankles. That's what we like. Exciting, dynamic, attacking, aggressive football. Now, was Alisson maybe a bit too close to his near post? Yeah, you could see he was, but Elanga still finished it, which he couldn't have done last season. I think it was his first goal in 33 games. Now, after that, I know that chances were few and far between. We were better, but Liverpool's only real chance of that first half was where it came into the box and it sort of took a deflection off one of our defenders, and then Florian Wirtz tried to put it into the bottom corner with his left foot, but Hornacek made a really good save to push it behind. And then going into the second half, Newcastle had been compact. They'd been really tight. They were like blocking all the spaces from Liverpool. They weren't giving them anywhere to play. But the second half, maybe it's because the crowd, it went into the break, the momentum, the emotion of the first half had time to dissipate somewhat. Newcastle were a little bit more open. Isla realised that. That's why he made the substitutions that he did, calling for Joe Willock and Jacob Ramsey. But I've got to say though, like obviously he didn't make them in time because Liverpool got the equaliser. Gakpo had already sent a warning message to us when he fired it over the bar at the Leazers. But then for the equaliser, well, you saw Sean Sturr. It was the midfield's job. It wasn't the centre-back, Sven Botman, and it wasn't Malik Chow's either, because Lewis Hall and Sean Sturr were probably the closest to Gakpo, but you can see on the replays that Sean Sturr was pointing, saying you need to get out to him and mark him the ball. Look at all the space he's in. Gakpo received it, and like I said, he's a great player. Didn't need a second invitation, and he fired a wonderful shot into the bottom corner. Like I said, I cannot blame Lucas Hornacek for that. But then Isla's substitutions paid off, and that's where we like that decisiveness. He didn't wait till a certain minute. He actually thought, right, I need to change this up, change the dynamic of this game, and that's what he done. and Newcastle United, it was just brilliant. So the ball was kind of bouncing around in our box. It was cleared, and then it fell to Wissa. Now, this is where Wissa is different to last season. You can just tell the confidence surging through his veins. You can see that he's aggressive in his play yesterday. He was receiving the ball on the half turn, and he was driving at his man, committing players. And the way he danced through, I've got to say, Florian Wirtz and Szoboszlai, to carry the ball so far up the pitch after receiving it deep. And then he waited till the right moment. He was surrounded by about 5 or 6 players, and you're like, this isn't the same Wissa. And he was basically top in all of his metrics. That's why he got man of the match. But yeah, he released it for Joe Willock, and Joe Willock, well, that's what I've said before. If we get this Joe Willock who was injury-free, the way he took his goal, it came to him. He had pressure on him, he was slightly caught under his feet, but it was a fantastic finish into the bottom corner. And that was just the response we needed, because I feel like I've said last season, maybe Newcastle United would have folded after Liverpool had got the equaliser. But yeah, they should have killed the game off, and that is what's so frustrating, because we had 2 further chances. They were both Wissa as well. Lewis Miley, who was outstanding, by the way, just 20-year-old, the way he controlled the play, he's passing, he's really stepped into that role yesterday after losing Sandro Tonali and Bruno Guimaraes. But some of his cross-field passes, the way he kept it simple, he was just in control against experienced midfielders that Liverpool have in there as well. And like I said, Sean Sturswell played beyond his years. But yeah, I've got to say that Miley played a lovely ball in between the full-back and the centre-back. For Lewis Hall, he pulled a beautiful cross into the box, and yeah, Wissa, he just couldn't get a touch to it. He should have just flicked it past Alisson, and that would have been 3-1, given we're breathing space and not made it a bit nervy. Now, I know there was a substitution at the end of the game. I think he brought on Fabian Schär to try and shore it up, because he could see that the momentum was going to Liverpool. But yeah, it was 9 minutes added on. No, sorry, 9 minutes is when the penalty was scored. But I think, how much was that on? Was it 5 minutes? But how it got to 99 minutes, maybe it's because of that penalty. But that's what I mean. It should never have got to that point in the first place. But yeah, Liverpool had one last hit and hope counter-attack. I think it was Kirkesh who had it on the left, at left back. He lofted a ball into the box. Van Dijk was up there. He managed to win the header, knock it down, and then it came to the player who we lost out on in Victor Munoz and Lewis Hall. Maybe it was a tired challenge. It wasn't intentional. I thought it was his foot at first, and I thought Stone, but like I said, you can argue that it probably wasn't a penalty. But yeah, Lewis Hall, it was a tired challenge, put his leg out. Now, I think that obviously Munoz initiated it, but he didn't need a second invitation. You're asking for a penalty to be given, probably in those circumstances. It hurt, and at the time it did feel like a defeat, even though I've slept on it, and it's been very encouraging performance. But yeah, thought might be Isak, maybe could have got into his head, he could have missed it, but it was Szoboszlai, and he made absolutely no mistake putting it at the top corner. Hornacek, no other goalkeeper would have had a hope with that pen. So yeah, unfortunately Liverpool, as they usually do in this fixture, get a last minute goal to deny us a victory. So yeah, we've been here loads of times before with Liverpool. It's frustrating. They're an irritating club, I've got to admit, but they always find a way. But you know what, I'm not downhearted, I'm not. Of course, the pen's controversial. I don't think it should have been. You can see why though. But yeah, look, they've got a point, but I'm encouraged. We should have got the win, but it is a very good start, and there's lots to be enthused by, and there's lots to build on. That is how I'm looking at it. And yeah, we'll go to St James's Park again in the week. I'll be there with my post-match reaction video, so keep an eye out for that on the channel. And I am at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this weekend for a 5:30 p.m. kickoff on Saturday evening. So if you do like this video and you'd like to see more content, please like, comment, share and subscribe to support the channel, and hit the bell for all your latest Magnificent Mags content. Thank you so much for watching. I'm wrapping that up there. I'll just give you one last spin. It's absolutely beautiful here. Look, I'm going to go in there now. Like I said at the start to the commissioners, I'm going to go and have a beer and edit this video and get it uploaded ASAP. Bye everyone.